Hello and welcome to the Quantizer. Today we're going to be going over the BeagleBone AI. We're going to be checking it out, powering it up, seeing what all we can do with it, at least getting it set up. And so I got this device because I was looking at something to put on the Puppy Patrol project that we're working on. And I wanted something that was more powerful than an Arduino because we're going to need to be doing some more interesting stuff. We're going to maybe be streaming some video and audio and things like that. And so, we could go with a Raspberry Pi and that would work. But I wanted to check out some other boards out there, and I came across two that looked interesting. One of them was the Jetson and the other one is this BeagleBone AI. And I'm going to be comparing the two of them. And so we're going to start with this BeagleBone AI. There's some really interesting things on here that I'm excited to get to check out. For example, one of the advantages I think that this BeagleBone AI may have is that it's pretty fast. I mean, it's got two 1.5 gigahertz ARM cores in there. Yeah, multi-core 1.5 gigahertz ARM core processors, plus some additional processors in there that you can do some real-time processing with. And that's one thing I'm interested to see how to do with this device, so you can use it more like a traditional microcontroller and get some more accurate timings and things like that, which I don't think you can do with the Jetson, but I don't know, we'll find out. Additionally, it has some digital signal processors in there, SDC66XX, I believe. I've read about these before. I've never actually used them from TI, and I know that they're using those to try and do some optimization for the convolutional neural networks or some sort of machine learning things you put in there, try to optimize and speed some of that stuff up. My initial impressions was this is maybe not as powerful as the Jetson was, and but we'll see how it goes. So I would say first off, I've already powered this on before, and it gets really hot. Like really hot. In fact, it got so hot it thermally shut me down when I was initially looking at it. The command line said that it got to 95 degrees Celsius. I know that I noticed it got pretty hot pretty quickly. In fact, I put a temperature sensor on the heat sink over the processor, and it got up to like 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And so and that's just the heat sink. So it can definitely burn you. I think I'll need to put a fan on here for sure, just to run it like normally. I would say though that some of this documentation I've read said that when you update the OS that it should fix some of that, some of those problems. In fact, I tried to run this thing because it already has the OS loaded on, it already has Linux loaded onto it, and it's eMMC. And I tried to just set up the Wi-Fi and go from there, because you can do that. You could just plug it in and it works, and it does, but I was having issues with the Wi-Fi, so we're going to try this time to update it first and then see what happens. So in this quick start guide, it tells you to go to the get starting page, which is this page, and the first thing it tells you to do is to download the latest software image. And I think I've already done that. Yeah, I've got the Flasher version of it. I need to download this though. This thing to actually flash some stuff. And so I'm gonna save this and install it, and then we're going to flash our SD card. The information I was reading said that the SD card with the flasher option I took, because when you come in here to get the latest images, it recommends you download one of these, and from what I understand, this version will be something that you flash the SD card and then it actually runs the OS from the SD card with this one. And I wanted to actually just flash it, replace the one that was on there, and run off of that. I don't know if that's how that works, but that was my understanding from reading this. So if you do know, let me know. Anyways, it's done downloading, so let's install it. Okay, so let's flash from a file in our downloads. I guess I downloaded it twice. I hope those are the same ones. They look to be the same. Get our generic thing. Let's flash it, see what happens. Microsoft do that. Oh, another cool thing that we could talk about while this is flashing that I thought was interesting with the BeagleBoard, and I guess this is true for their whole series of stuff, is that it's open hardware. So, you know, what's really neat about that is you can buy the processor from TI. It's not something you can do with the Broadcom chips that you get in the Raspberry Pis or the NVIDIA chips. I mean, I don't imagine you could do that. I think I've looked for them before too. They're not available through someone like Mouser or DigiKey. I guess you've got to be a volume type shop. So for the hobbyist type people, you don't have access. But all these TI parts you do. In fact, this whole board is open source or open source hardware to where you can actually just take the layout and put it inside of your own board if you wanted to, right? And you know, get rid of these headers and have it actually connect to the pins that you wanted to connect to, and do some interesting stuff. And so that's what excites me about it a lot. So you get a lot of the really nice features that you get with a microcontroller, where you have a lot of control over some hardware that you put on there. It also has some analog stuff. I believe there's analog outputs on here as well. And so I imagine it's got both DACs and ADCs, right? So digital analog converters and analog to digital converters, and the ability to put out an analog signal. So like if I want to drive some audio, that would be nice too. And the fact that it's open hardware, again, is pretty nice. It's got built-in Wi-Fi. That's also pretty nice. I feel like they put a lot of really nice stuff in here. If it just didn't get so hot. So I really want it to work out. I hope it does. I know it's got 1 gig of RAM on here. I'd read that this chip, the Cetera AM5729, I think it supports up to 2 gigs of RAM that you can do. So if you did decide you wanted to roll your own version, you could double the RAM. So that could be neat. But I would put a heatsink on it. Sorry, it's just much harder than I expected. It's surprising to me that out of the box it will overheat on you. That's kind of a bummer. But maybe if we follow the instructions, like they're saying, to update the software, that will fix that issue, and that would be great if it did. And I wonder what they'd be doing to fix it. I wonder if they'd just be running it like maybe the one that they loaded with out from the factory has it running at like 1.5 gigahertz, just consuming full clock speeds and all this stuff, and consuming all this power, and that they said, okay, well, we'll just we wanted to make it look fast, as fast as it is, but the overheating was an issue, so because we didn't have fans on it, so let's clock it down some and slow it down some. That may be what they did, but I don't know. We'll find out. All right, we're now validating. Okay, awesome. Looks like it's done. Let's eject it and put it in the device and see what happens. All right. I wish I had a camera to show you, but I'm not that fancy yet. Maybe someday. But what I'm doing is putting the micro SD card inside of the BeagleBone AI. I'm going to plug in the power to it. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, that when I did this the first time, I think I'd read on the stats here that it takes 3 volts or 5 volts at 3 amps, I believe, is what they were looking for from these connectors. Yeah, 5 volts at 3 amps. And so it's 15 watts. I had this plugged into the USB ports on the top of my desktop, and those are not directly connected to the motherboard, and I don't think those get as much power as the ones on the back did. So when I plugged this in initially, it powered on and started, and it was on for a little while, and then it started going this reboot loop, where it would reboot like every 2 seconds, and it just wouldn't stay on, and I think it was being underpowered by those USB ports I had in there. So if yours doesn't stay on, maybe you're not plugged into a USB port that's supplying as much power. I don't actually know if that is the problem, but that's what I assume it is. Okay, so I plugged it in, and we'll see what happens next. We can also go read what they say to do. So you download the deal, use the flasher, Insert the SD card. So it says if you're using black. I think this is general instructions for all of the Beagle boards, and the BeagleBoard Black is a different version. So apply the power and either the USB 5 cable. If you're using the BeagleBone or the BeagleBone Pocket, you're done. If you're using the BeagleBone AI, which is what we are, with onboard eMMC flash, and you desire to write the image of the board, you'll need to follow these instructions. What do they say to do? Okay. Set up the standalone microSD image to automatically flash on power up. Log in. Edit that. Okay. So it looks like we've got to modify it to flash initially. I think it is automatically flashing though, because the lights are doing the strobing pattern, going up and down, up and down, up and down. So I'm pretty confident it is flashing right now. The latest Debian flash automatically power down the board upon completion. It can take up to 45 minutes. Oh man. Power down your board, remove the SD card, and power it up again. Okay, well, since this can apparently take some time, I'm going to stop the video and come back when it's done. Okay, we're back. So that actually didn't take very long at all. It only took like another minute. So it took like maybe a minute or two to flash the board. And now we'll get to see if that worked. So let's continue reading what it says to do. All right, if you're doing that, power down your board, remove the SD card. Did that. Don't want to flash it again. At least that might be what happens if you leave that in there. So let's power it back on. This time I need to actually press the power button because it's still plugged in. And it looks like it's powering on. All sounds good so far. Trying to put the board up on its side so that they can get airflow on both sides of the board. Because like I said, it gets hot. I don't want to get thermally shut down. But we'll see if this update has fixed some stuff. In fact, maybe we should put the temperature sensor on there. We're at 80 degrees Fahrenheit right now, so let's see if it warms up. I'm sure it'll get at least warmer than that. So we now have this thing opened up. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this start.html. That was actually the BeagleBone AI's like acting as a connected drive. And what's really cool is you'll see here in a second is that these things on the side should go green for the steps that we've already done. Sure it's taken a while though, but or maybe they won't. The previous version actually had blue or green for the different steps that was complete on here. That I guess it was reading from the board to know, but this one does not. Okay, well, it's definitely been updated because that changed. So anyways, now that we're connected, yeah, it's definitely running slower. This is definitely taking more time. Right now we're at 97 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're doing okay. Not the 160 that we were at last time yet. So let's see what happens. Okay, fair warning, last time I did this, it did not work. Where did that go? Well, that's a bummer. Kind of wanted that thing. Huh. I don't know. I guess we're just going to be looking around here in this file explorer. Let me try to come back here. About.md. Introduction.md. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So let's try this. Give this introduction back. Huh, weird. Oh well, I can still kind of read what's going on there. Let's see. We're going to want to do sudo conman_ctl. And it does have the double tab to autocomplete, so that's cool. This is pretty neat how you're accessing the terminal through this web interface. So, you know, I've just got it plugged into the USB on this computer to power it and also connect to it because it's not connected to the wireless yet. But as soon as you connect to the Wi-Fi, you can plug this thing in and then, you know, however you want to power it, either through the barrel jack or some USB battery pack or something like that, and it could just run on its own. You don't have to do a whole lot to actually start using it. So that's pretty neat. So let's see. I'm actually going to bring that thing up in a in the window again, so you can see what steps it's asking me to do. Huh, okay. Bummer. I guess we're just going to have to look at it this weird way. So they said the password is temp pwd. Nice. And then scan Wi-Fi. So that should hopefully scan for all the networks. And let's see, scan complete. Services. All right, there are all of our Wi-Fi networks. I'm Burt Macklin 5G. Copy. Let's see, agent on. I'm just following these instructions right here. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird to see, but I'm just reading what I know that they were. So agent registered. All right, connect. Wi-Fi. Oh. It's actually just supposed to be that whole thing. Important. Okay, so if you want Control C, yeah. So if you want to use Control C and all that good stuff, you got to do something else. But we'll just use the mouse for now. What? Oh, maybe you got to use the Control C. Oh, wow, okay. I guess I can't right-click it. It's Control C and Control V are working. Let's see what happens. PSK, that looks good. Okay, I'm typing my password, which I will hopefully blur out. And I think it's supposed to say it connects soon, hopefully. No, it's the same problem I got last time. So something's going on with the Wi-Fi, and it's not working, or I'm not doing something right, or maybe I don't know my password. So we'll check that out. I'll try some stuff. Let's try the 2.4 G1. See if we get any better luck there. Oh yeah, gotta use. Make sure I get the right Wi-Fi password. Hey, that worked. I don't know what I did differently. Maybe you got to come in through the Wi-Fi interface. Or maybe it was a 2.4 gigahertz one. I don't really know. But if you've got a 2.4 and a 5 gigahertz one, try one and then the other one and see what happens. That's great. It's great that works. What does this thing say to do? Now you can click this BBBIO to upgrade. See what happens. All right. This documentation is very new, and your feedback is requested, ideally via this mailing list. How new is it? Have a date on it? Yes. March 2020? This is January 2021, so Not that new. I don't know if this has been updated. By default, the board may run warm and shut down. Yes, it will. Let's take another measurement on it again. Let's see real quick. Here, I'll take a photo as well so you can see what I'm doing over here. So we're at 118 degrees Fahrenheit. I wonder if it's also because I have the board on its side, so I've got air flowing on both sides, if that's helping dissipate some of that heat as well. Honestly, I don't want to put it on its side and find out, so it's one of the two. Maybe we'll experiment later by putting it down, but for now, it's working, and it is cooler. Warm. It's hot. Please keep significant ventilation on the board. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I agree. There are 4 main steps to updating the software. Connect to the internet. Update the boot up scripts. Update the distribution component. Update the examples in the Cloud9 IDE. Okay. CD OPT. I heard that OPT stood for optional third party. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. We got Git going on here. That's cool. We just pulled it. Got some updates. Sudo tools. Update the kernel. That sounds awesome. Temp password. All right. Updating the kernel sounds like we hope this works. It doesn't fail. Otherwise, we may be flashing again. That's good. Sudo shutdown tac R now. Shutdown tac R now. Okay, that should turn off the board. Yep, I just heard it go away. So we will wait until the board comes back up. Oh, that's cool. It grays out and it's reconnecting. Nice. I guess the JavaScript is it's monitoring some stuff. That's a pretty sweet interface, though. I've never worked with this Cloud9 interface. All right, cool. Let's see if it auto reconnects. How well did you program your interface? I saw an attempt. Doing it again. Oh no. All right, we'll just go there. I guess I could just refresh that page instead of scrolling down here to the link. Bummer. So update the distribution components. Do some stuff again. I'll do some OpenCV installing. Our temperature is at 123 degrees Fahrenheit, so still cooler than 160 degrees Celsius, but again, we're also vertical. So I don't know which one of those two things, or maybe if I put it down flat again. I'm gonna test it out. Let's put it flat again. Instead of leaning up on the side. Yeah, it's definitely much cooler than it was. Let's continue on. Sudo apt update, some typical stuff. Temp B3. Failed to resolve. Let's check out. Oh look, the Wi-Fi is not connected. Huh. It didn't remember our stuff. Okay. Let's try their con man control again. Oh man, that thing's bouncing every time I do it. That's kind of annoying. Let's refresh this page. Services. See our Wi-Fi. Let's try to connect to 5G. See what happens. They say services. I was on the enterprise one. Agent on. Connect. Gotta use Control C and Control V until I enable something that they warned me about, but I didn't read fully. Alright, let's see if that works. Oh! So maybe it's just having problems with the 5G connection. I wonder why I can see it but not connect to it. Okay, well, that's something. Let's try. Let's just try to connect to the 2.4G from here, and then if this doesn't work, we'll connect in with via the Wi-Fi and try to connect that way and see if that's what it is, to try and see what was the problem. Didn't make me put in my password though, meaning it probably already had that config saved. So this might work. Yeah, connected. Okay, so for some reason it's having issues with the 5G. So the 2.4 is the way to go. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. I also saw that you could use IP space A, and I think that means like IP all. What does IP do? Okay. This is, I guess, a more condensed way of seeing that. Actually, it looks a lot more like how Windows does when you do an IP config. So, that's cool. Put your WLAN 0. Got it. Okay. Let's go back to what we were doing. Update the components. Okay. So, okay, it's working now. Let's upgrade. Yeah, that's not surprising. That's what they're having us do. And then we just said, hey, give me a new list of where everything is, and then let's go download all the new stuff. So it's updating. That's how you update a Debian distro. Ubuntu does it this way. It's just a variant of this, or of Debian. This is a variant of Debian as well. Let's look. Oh, it's a good time to look at top. Let's look at HTOP. I'm pressing Q to quit, just so you know. All right, so I was told how to read this, and I still got to go look it up. But that load average, you see how there is looks like we have 2 cores, right? Which is true. We're supposed to have 2 ARM cores that are capable of going up to 1.5 gigahertz per core. And then it looks like I don't know if I'm reading this right, but I think this is the average load on one core, and this is the average load on another core. I don't know what this is. I think this may be the summation of the 2, right? Well, that doesn't add up, but like something like that. But I was told that it's like, oh, 1.64. That means that, you know, the thing's like having more work than it can process, right? And so it's running at a 1.64 rate, right? I guess so. If you're like running at 50%, you'd be at that capacity. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I was told that. I don't know if that's what those load average things are doing, but you can see that the CPU usage. Node.js is running a bunch. Oh, this must be running a Node.js server. Oh, see, there's that screen I was talking about. Even though we got disconnected. lose power. Oh, looks like it may have lost power. We bet we got thermally shut down. My temperature sensor was off it, so I don't know what it was at that time. So I'm not sure if this thing, it might have heated up because I have it back on its, laying down flat again. So let me put it back on its side, turn it back on. So I'm not sure if it is cooler because of the deal. I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, I think I'd say this board, even after we've, well, I guess we haven't updated all of this stuff, so maybe we should hold off until we've finished the update process, because all we did was update the distribution, and they may have older packages installed, and so once we update all the packages, we will see what it is. But if it has similar things to where, like, oh yeah, you're laying it flat, the thing's going to overheat and get thermally shut down, right? Then I'd say, yeah, it should come with a fan by default, because if it can't stay on, I mean, you know, that's a bummer. Or I wonder if there's a way if we can limit its power consumption, right, by like downclocking it or something like that to keep it cool. That's actually runnable with just passive cooling, the open air flow through the deal. Or you could put a bigger heatsink on there, one that has, you know, better heat transfer, right? Like dissipate more heat, you know, dissipate that heat better. I know that the one on the Jetson looks much bigger than this one, so I mean, they're different chips though. But yeah, maybe bigger heatsink on there. So I don't know. We can find out. If you've dealt with this before and you have solved this, please let us know what you did. Fix that. Put a comment down there. All right. Still waiting on that. Yeah, it's at like 135 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Yes, we will install all of this. This process is going to take a while. So what we'll do is we will pause the video right now and come back after all of this stuff gets installed, because this maybe take some time. And I'll set a timer. Okay, so we're back. So the update happened in about 15 minutes and 20 seconds. I reset everything inadvertently, but it's still okay to reset stuff. And now we're going to move on to the next step of installing these two packages. Oh yeah, got to use Control V. Can't just paste in there until you install some plugin. EMP-PWB. And then let's see how big these are. They're already updated. Okay. So already the newest version, If we want to make sure we have the latest stuff, we could do a sudo apt update and make sure we go pull down those repos again and make sure we refresh what versions are the latest. And then the next thing we can do is update the examples in the Cloud9 IDE. I'm going to do that in a different tab here. New terminal. What immediate window means. var lib cloud9 git pull. It's another git repo. Already up to date. That's nice. Let's let that run. Now that we're in the Cloud9 thing, let's do the sudo optional third party. Yeah, that's the temperature sensor. It was saying It just beeps when it gets left on. It's at 230 right now. I think I got it to 237 or 8. I think it's pretty much where it was hanging out when I was doing the update. Degrees Fahrenheit. Scripts. Tools. Version. I was pressing tab to autocomplete as soon as I get a couple letters in. What's this doing? Testing the installed version. I think that's right. I mean, that looks like what they got here. What is this doing? Buster IoT TIDL. So I guess this is a Debian Buster Internet of Things TI Deep Learning image. April 2020. Just reading through what I was trying to see what it's trying to do. Let's try, I guess, to make sure that everything's there. Maybe it would throw an error if something was wrong. This looks right. So yeah, looks like we have a fully updated board, and I guess I can turn the temperature sensor back on and put it back on its, lay it back down flat and see if it overheats again. So that'd be an interesting thing to check. But anyways, for all intents and purposes though, that's the end of this video about setting it up, getting it updated, and it looks like we were able to do that successfully. There's some questions I still would want to answer though, like for example, can I connect to their Wi-Fi? Can I have it connect to Wi-Fi and I connect to it via Wi-Fi, so that those two things can happen at the same time? That'd be pretty nice, so that you can have it on some sort of on some sort of, like, we're planning on putting it on the Puppy Patrol potentially. It's a rover, robot driving around, so it'd be nice to be able to connect to it via Wi-Fi that way. So yeah, we'll come back with a later video that talks about some of the functionality and features, but that's what it takes to actually set it up. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you're looking to get the board and you're worried about some of the interfaces or anything like that, maybe this will help you understand what it is you're looking at. So yeah, have a nice one, and don't forget to like and subscribe.